Yo, man, what's good? You trim that shit, bro, Mickal. Today, man, we got something new. We got 50 Cent's 20 years plot to destroy Diddy. Let's go, man. So I kind of skipped through to like what he talks about inside the document because the intro irrelevant. Then he has a little ad. So the first part right now is the questionable rise of P. Diddy. Let's go and get to it.
To understand the origins of this beef, it's important to first look at the pair's come up in the industry and where exactly they initially begun clashing heads. Sean Combs was born in 1969 and he was raised in the grimy streets of Harlem, New York in the 1970s, as he would explain to DJ Vlad in a throwback interview.
I'm a Harlem boy, no disrespect to anybody. That's where my mom was from. That's where my father's from. That's where my father died at. That's where I was born. That's what I represent. That's my swag. That's my tenacity. I just love being from there. That's where my soul comes from. That hustler mentality has a lot to do with why I am.
After the loss of his father Melvin at the age of 2, Sean and his family moved into the suburbs of Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon is a city in Westchester County, New York in the United States. It's an inner suburb of New York City immediately to the north of the borough of the Bronx, and Sean credited Mount Vernon for broadening his horizons and introducing him to new cultures and opportunities. In comparison to Harlem, it was a completely different world. Sean attended an all-boys private Montessori school, Mount St. Michael Academy, and he spent the rest of his
but if somebody go, what's up? All boys academy, bro. Hell nah, bro. Hell nah, bro. Ain't no way I'm in all boys private school. Nigga, what? I mean, that nigga do now. I'm saying Diddy, you know what I'm saying? He like, you know what I'm saying? He like that, but I'm just saying, like, as a kid, like, you going to all boys school, you not seeing no girls, nothing, just straight niggas? Bro, hell no.
Adolescence in Mount Vernon and took a liking to the performance arts.
Crazy.
It was reported that in his teenage years, Sean actually danced in several music videos for big artists like Diana Ross, which would explain his numerous music video antics later on in his career. After high school, he went to Howard University in DC to pursue a business degree, and it was during college that Diddy began gaining a reputation for throwing huge parties. These parties were becoming a key part of Sean's personality, and it was really what made him so popular. Sean and DJ Derek Angeletti became very close after this and began throwing multiple parties every single month. Celebrities even began attending the events, and Sean took advantage of his chance to spread his name, engraving his name and nickname Puff on his business cards. According to the DJ, one party at the Masonic Temple had over 1,500 people in attendance. In 1989, after freshman year in college, he met up with his childhood friend Dwight Myers, aka Heavy D. He was like his mentor through childhood, and he was a known rapper in the scene. And that same year, in 1989, Heavy would sign to the record label Uptown Records in New York City. Over summer 1989, Sean went back to New York City and linked up with Heavy D, who later introed Sean to the label owner Andre Harrell, a flamboyant black record executive who famously coined the term ghetto fabulous. The two would allegedly become very close, and that same summer, Diddy was hired as an intern for the label, all still while just being a freshman in college. He must have been doing an impeccable job.
I want to know, I want to get to the part where, how does he even meet Biggie Smalls? How does he meet Notorious? Like, how does he even meet him? Like, what would happen if he never met Biggie? Like, would he still have that name? Or would he be irrelevant to the point where, like, nobody really know? You know what I'm saying? Like, have you ever thought about that? Like, man, what happened if he never met Biggie? Or never met, like, or Biggie never met him and come across paths? You know what I'm saying? Like, would Biggie even have them hits? Like, do you ever, like, ever think about that? Sometimes I've been thinking about, like, damn, like, what happened if they never cross paths with each other? You know what I'm saying?
Swiftly promoted to an A&R executive. At just age 20, Sean was already achieving massive success in the music industry. No one really knew how. By autumn 1992, after the signing of his latest label talent, the notorious B.I.G., the debut album Ready to Die was due for release, but Uptown's parent company was apparently refusing to release it, saying that the lyrics were far too vulgar. Both Diddy and Biggie were upset and voiced their frustrations, leading Diddy to be fired from Uptown in late 1992. This led Diddy to move into the next year, forming his own record label, the now infamous Bad Boy Entertainment. Diddy had begun building a very impressive lineup at Bad Boy.
So he was already signed, and then he did, because they didn't want to release, so they left. Wait, what? Because in the movie they didn't show him that he was with Uptown Record. They just showed to the part where Biggie went to go meet and boom signed him, and then they, you know what I'm saying?
And in September 1994, the label finally released Biggie's Ready to Die. Ready to Die resonated with hip-hop fans instantly and is considered to be one of the great classic rap albums in history, even scoring perfect reviews by some of music's most respected media outlets. Bad Boy continued their massive success throughout the 90s, becoming one of the biggest labels in rap, curating a vast catalogue of hits and respected albums, with massive artists like Craig Mack, Biggie Smalls, Lil' Kim, The Lox, and many more. And this momentum carried over into the new millennium, cementing Diddy as one of the biggest media moguls the rap game ever saw. And as a celebrity and budding New York socialite, Diddy's profile would continue to grow as he broke into the A-list echelon. Diddy got into a high-profile relationship with Jennifer Lopez, flaunting his new bae and his success on the red carpet at the 2000 Grammy Awards. By the start of the new millennium, Diddy had truly made it, but interestingly, as Diddy had reached the top, he was living the high life as perhaps hip-hop's first true mogul. But unfortunately, in the shadowy gutter of New York's rap scene, a young 50 Cent was grinding and facing some of the hardest situations a man could possibly face.
The grindy rise of 50 Cent. Now, not gonna lie, 50 Cent has some hits, y'all. Y'all gotta know, bro, 50 Cent has some hits. Like, bro, not gonna lie, it was probably lit back then to be like around that age, around that time, like 15, around that time, in the early 2000s, to hear like in the club, bro, like, bro, and then Get Rich or Die Trying, bro, that movie, I think is one of the best like type of hood movies to watch. Up there with Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood. Like, bro, I'm talking about hood movies. I'm talking about Get Rich or Die Trying, Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood. A lot of the juices out there, bro. There's a lot. Oh my, ooh, bro. Oh my gosh, bro.
While Diddy had found fame,
like we would never get those type of movies no more, like from the 90s movies, 2000s, like those type of movies, Menace to Society, Juice, all that, Friday. We would never get them type of movies no more, just because everything is just changed now and everybody just sensitive nowadays, bro.
Fortune on the business side of the rap game in the late 90s, we also saw the emergence of another titan in the rap world. From Southside Jamaica, Queens, New York, a man named Curtis Jackson, locally known in the streets as Boo Boo before he found his 50 Cent moniker. 50 Cent was known as a menace in the streets of Queens, who was very active from a young age and was known as the boss of his 134 Guy Brewer block. But 50 Cent had bigger dreams than just running his block, and eventually was looking to turn his tales of running the streets into a buzzing rap career. In 1996, 50 was introduced to the legendary Jam Master Jay from Run DMC, who helped 50 establish his sound and trained him to write raps and helped improve his ability to write hooks and form proper songs. In 1999, 50 signed a deal and would join Columbia Records ahead of the release of his debut album, Power of the Dollar. But as 1999 was wrapping up, 50 felt that there was a lack of anticipation for his upcoming debut release. So on August the 10th, 50 chose to shake up the rap game and put many of the biggest artists on notice. He released the infamous track How to Rob, which was basically a diss track on the whole music industry, including firing shots at R&B singers Bobby Brown and Keith Sweat, as well as DMX and many more. But the very first diss at the start of the song was aimed at none other than P. Diddy himself. 50 was aware that dissing the biggest label owner at the time would certainly attract eyes to his project, marking this as the first entry into this saga of beef. In the song, 50 threatens to kidnap Diddy's then partner Kim Porter and orders Diddy that he'll need to pay her ransom and dance his way to the nearest ATM, hilariously alluding to Diddy's fruity dances often seen in Bad Boy videos. The strategy of airing out the entire rap game and aiming for the biggest names was a genius marketing move, and the song really put 50 on the map and got his name buzzing. Just like Diddy, 50 clearly had a business.
Even that movie too, In Too Deep, is a good ass movie.
Oriented mind and was sharp enough to manipulate tactics to generate buzz for his projects and increase his sales. His method worked, and the very next month in September, 50 featured in the Next People on the Verge section in Vibe magazine. All was set for the big release of 50's debut album, but the next year, disaster struck for 50's career, as he would seemingly use the same strategy of airing people out publicly to get attention, but this time it was figures in the streets rather than the recording industry that he was exposing. His track Ghetto Quran was one of the first examples of a gangster rapper exposing other gangsters and their activities directly by name, specifically local drug lord Kenneth Supreme McGriff, with 50 rapping openly on the track that he would break down the story of the gangster running the South Side, openly saying that Supreme was the businessman and his enforcer Prince was killing people on behalf of him. The song delved in excruciating detail the sorts of cars that Supreme drove and called out members by name for snitching on people. 50 knew what he was doing, even rapping "Don't be surprised of how freely he was naming serious big-time drug dealers and gangsters from his area." This song was wild, and in some people's Mickals' eyes, one of the earliest examples of snitching on a record. But 50 didn't agree with this, telling Vibe magazine that everything he mentioned in the song had also been written about in books in the library and newspaper reports that had been available publicly. Now, I agree with the sentiment, and Ghetto Quran is certainly not snitching. However, 50 was actually from and living in the area that these gangsters he named ran in. This song was seen as the ultimate disrespect, specifically towards Supreme McGriff, who was mentioned in the opening lines of the song. So as a result, the streets decided that 50 Cent was a liability and would need to be taken out. On May the 24th, 2000, whilst 50 was in a car in front of his grandmother's house, a stranger approached him from behind and started shooting at close range. 50 was hit 9 times, but like a true soldier, 50 drove himself to Jamaica Hospital and survived the attack.
But wasn't, you know how you watch Get Rich or Die Trying? Wasn't he talking about, what's that dude name in Get Rich or Die Majestic? But I think that's supposed to be Supreme, whatever his name was. Am I right? That's supposed to be him, right? I know he said get your Die Trying probably like 75% right, 85%, something like that.
Escaping death. One bullet had knocked out a tooth, another had hit his hip, and sadly he was told that he would forever slur and limp, with the implication that this would obviously affect 50's ability to rap. He didn't let it stop him. His original album Power of the Dollar was set for release in July 2000, but after the shooting, 50 was dropped from the label. Luckily, 50 managed to make a full recovery from the incident, and by 2001 he was back in the studio writing music once again. And it appears that by this point, Diddy had actually let the previous diss aimed at him on How to Rob slide, as 50 claims that Jennifer Lopez, Diddy's girlfriend at the time, had told Diddy to use 50 Cent as a ghostwriter. And allegedly, Diddy actually took up this advice, because on the 10th of July 2001, bad boy artist G-Dep released his song Let's Get It, a posse cut featuring Black Rob and p.diddy himself, or Puffy as he was known at the time. According to 50 Cent, he actually wrote the chorus and Diddy's verse for this track, and when assessing the hook, it definitely seems to be something that could have been produced by 50's pen.
First time I came back was because Jennifer Lopez told Puffy he should have me come back to write music with him. I came back, Puffy had a song, it used to go, make this money, take this money. Ain't no way you could take this from me. They get money, let's get it. That don't feel like 50?
Now, the following year in 2002, 50 had officially become the hottest unsigned artist in the game, and on April 26, 2002, 50 released his mixtape Guess Who's Back, taunting his ops who left him for dead. And interestingly, despite the ghostwriting lifeline Diddy had thrown to him, on track 8 entitled Get Out the Club, 50 once again disses P. Diddy, calling Diddy a trick. A pointed bar, but also perhaps a slightly subtle hint that 50 might have known some of the nasty things Diddy had to do behind the scenes to get his career going. But 50 had ultimately come up off the back of drama and making a mockery of powerful people. And in natural 50 fashion, he didn't just stop there. On August 1st, 2002, 50 Cent released the G-Unit assisted mixtape No Mercy No Fear. And on track 16, Part 2 and Bump Heads, 50 speaks on the outro to the instrumental of a Bad Boy song, I Need a Girl Part 2, where 50 says, hey Puffy, stop making those I Miss J-Lo records. For some reason, Diddy had obviously got under 50's skin, but at the time, Diddy chose not to respond or pay any of these disses any attention. Perhaps at the time, Diddy appreciated 50's Joker personality and understood that his method of virality was trying to prod the biggest names in the game. And honestly, it was working. As mentioned, 50 Cent was on fire during this time, and every label was desperately trying to sign him. And surprisingly, even after multiple public disses, Diddy himself also joined in on the bidding war. According to G-Unit member Tony Yayo, Diddy arranged a meeting with 50 to discuss a potential signing, but ultimately chose not to proceed due to 50's ongoing war in New York with Kenneth Supreme McGriff, the kingpin and founder of the notorious Supreme Team, who were one of the biggest crime syndicates in New York throughout the 80s to the 2000s. I guess even Diddy was scared of those guys.
I remember the first time, and a lot of people don't know the story, that 50 went to Diddy for Bad Boy. A lot of people don't know that. We had the meeting, and it was so crazy that Diddy didn't sign him. I know that was one of the biggest mistakes of Bad Boy. You know, the Preem situation, and you know, a lot of people were scared of Preem. 50 wasn't. So it was just like, you know, I remember Diddy said this.
I think that was the good reason for 50 Cent not to sign with Bad Boys though.
Remember, he said the 3 things people hate about rappers. He's like, yo, we can't sign you, Playboy. It's too much. He was like, it's too much drama, like, you know, with the Biggie stuff and all that. And I was just looking like, damn, this he, you know what I'm saying?
But what do you mean drama with the Biggie stuff?
Cause we came to Diddy. 50 came
after Biggie got killed.
That was one of the meetings that we had.
Okay.
With
what
Diddy.
year was this?
I don't know what year it was. We had meeting with Diddy. It was me and 50 there, and 50 went. He took the meeting out of respect. He had deals all over the table. I wasn't saying he was gonna take the deal. He might have not. But Diddy didn't want to take the deal because all the drama. But 50 was the hottest on the planet.
Okay, was How to Rob out at this point?
Nah, this is after How to Rob. This is after he got shot, and he had all the mixtape on Smash.
With some rumors circulating that Diddy and other New York City-based record labels actually blackballed 50 Cent from the industry due to the perceived danger of working with him. And another rumor had circulated that during a studio session, 50 Cent actually pulled out a gun and scared Diddy. So next, as you may know, 50
I'm
Cent
sorry,
ultimately
how
chose
do
to
you know if, how do you know 50 Cent pulled out a Mac 10? How do you know that? How do you know he, what?
sign with Eminem's Shady Records in conjunction with Dr. Dre's Aftermath. And the next year, under that label, he would release his classic album, Get Rich or Die Trying.
The best album he ever released. In the movie, this is the best album he ever released.
Which went on to become one of the most commercially successful hip-hop albums of all time, selling over 800,000 units in its first week, debuting at #1 and going down as a modern-day classic rap album at the time. And 50 went on to become a legendary figure in the rap game. Within just a couple of short years, 50 had risen to the top of the rap game, arguably quicker than Diddy did. And while Diddy was chasing mogul status, and at the time, 50 was still focused on being an artist, ultimately it would be hard to imagine two such enormous characters and personalities coexisting in the cutthroat world of the NYC rap scene peacefully. Slowly but surely, behind the scenes, 50 and Diddy's animosity would be growing, and while at times they would be friends, collaborators, or perhaps frenemies, what would ultimately unfold would see them eventually becoming bitter rivals, setting the stage for 50 to begin to contend with Diddy in the mogul rankings and patiently waiting over 2 decades to eventually claim Diddy's scalp.
That's crazy. 20 years is insane. Bro. Waiting 20 years to destroy it, that is, people have that much time to wait. 20 years? What? That's
Over the next few years, Diddy and 50's beef went quiet, likely due to all the success on both sides. But behind the scenes, tension was brewing. By 2003, both men were megastars in the rap game in their own rights. One interesting moment occurred when the two crossed paths on the 28th of August 2003, as Diddy ended up presenting the award for Best Rap Video at the MTV VMAs award show, with the winner being none other than 50 Cent for In Da Club.
And the award for Best Rap Video goes to, come on, Playboy, 50 Cent.
And 50 Cent and Eminem would touch the stage, dapping up Diddy, seemingly on good vibes. However, that same year, something would happen that changed everything, because apparently one chance encounter between Diddy and 50 Cent had 50 feeling some type of way. Apparently in 2003, New York music executive Chris Lighty, who was close to both 50 and Diddy, held a star-studded wedding, where Lighty tied the knot with his wife Veronica. Both 50 and Diddy were in attendance, and 15 years later, whilst on an interview with The Breakfast Club, 50 revealed that Diddy had said something to him that made him uncomfortable.
He said something to me one time, a long time ago, at Chris Lighty's wedding. He told me to take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You gonna make me mess up the wedding.
50 would also elaborate on this strange offer on his 2020 Drink Champs interview, when it was revealed that 50 and Diddy had been placed together on the same table at the wedding, and it was incredibly awkward.
He's like, I have 50, I think it's Steve Stout and Puff at the same table.
Yeah.
He said it was the most awkward ever, and that you was instigating some shit.
And it was at this point that Diddy made the strange comment offering to take 50 Cent shopping and pay for everything.
That's crazy.
Puff was like, yeah, like first he was amping him to get Stout. Then he was like, so when we gonna get the chance to, to kick it, like we could just hang out. We gotta kick it. Puff.
Okay.
He telling me we gotta kick it, and he was like, why don't we like go shopping or something? I mean, like I pay for it. And I was like, what the fuck this just say? I got the fuck away from him because I was like, this nigga fucking.
That is where asking a nigga to go shopping. Like, what?
Wait, just tell me you take me shopping.
Clearly this comment had gotten under 50's skin. It's unclear if this was a misinterpreted attempt at Diddy being friendly to 50, or a sign of disrespect trying to mock his fashion sense, or perhaps, even worse, a deeply disturbing attempt at mind games to put 50 Cent in a subordinate position.
Let me get out of no, dude, you take me. That's what a guy says to a girl. Don't make like it's just me, man. What if you do some like a little fluffy stuff?
Now you guys are.
Regardless of the intent, 50 was troubled by the way that Diddy was behaving at the wedding, and from 2003 onward, he would continue making subtle jabs at Diddy and his music, such as the slick line on the November 4th, 2003 G-Unit track Poppin' Them Thangs, where 50 joked about the time Diddy assaulted label executive Steve Stout. Luckily, the charges were dropped and the two were back friends. They'd seemingly spent time on good terms, for example being pictured together at showbiz events in 2004. But this would all change in 2006 when 50 Cent was gearing up to release his mixtape, G-Unit Radio 22, Hip Hop Is Dead. As before the release of this tape, 50 had been attempting to sign former Bad Boy Records star Mace to his G-Unit collective and label. They became close, with Mace even even appearing in the music video to
Window
50's hit
Shopper.
song Window Shopper, which dropped in November 2005, perhaps sending a sign to the world that he had been window shopping for a new record deal. Funnily enough, there's a much deeper meaning to this, as it later emerged that 50 was offended and creeped out when Diddy offered to take him shopping, and in the music video, 50 had seemingly done the exact same thing, taking Mace out for a shopping spree. Interestingly, if you look deeply at 50's lyrics in the song, there's clearly numerous jabs at Diddy that wouldn't even make sense until over 20 years later. In the hook, 50 aims open-ended bars at an unnamed hater, saying that they're mad at him and he knows why, and claiming that somebody is mad when they see him drive by, calling out an unnamed op for screw-facing him but not having the heart to diss him, seemingly hinting at Diddy potentially failing to re-sign Mace, rapping, "Why you mad at 50 when you effed up your own rear?" and using a double entendre to say something is about to get stolen, a possible reference to Mace being poached by 50 Cent's label. But even deeper, the song has bars which I personally think hint towards some of the sexual depravity Diddy was exposed for 20 years later, such as 50 opening the track saying the top feels so much better than the bottom. And if you think I'm reaching,
What?
even Charlemagne in 2018 brought this line up when 50 told him Diddy had offered to take him shopping.
But you've been getting that for over a decade. I remember when you said the top feels so much better than the bottom.
Yeah, I've been saying this. I've been saying this.
50 also made reference to freak-offs, which would later be mentioned in a big indictment against Diddy, and a remix of the song featuring Mace would later release as part of 50's mixtape G-Unit Radio Part 16, as well as his Bulletproof video game soundtrack. Cameron would later question Mace on what on earth he was doing out shopping with 50 in the music video in a hilarious 2023 podcast.
In 50 Cent's video, Window Shopping, what was your role exactly in that?
What was my role?
Took you shopping. They said he scooped you and took you shopping in the video. That's what they told me. I didn't see the video in the he said, I don't know. I just was asking.
I'm gonna let you win.
This video caused issue between 50 and Diddy, as Mace was always a bad boy artist and was almost seen as Diddy's right-hand man. But ultimately, Mace was disgruntled with his deal and had made it public, with one article quoting him as saying even Diddy knew he wanted to leave the label. In fact, this MTV article seemed to portray the signing as a done deal, sporting a headline claiming that even Diddy was in favor of the
Hope
deal.
y'all know it's the same thing how Biggie wanted to leave Bad Boys Record and take Lil' Kim and all them to a different label. And what happened to Biggie? Yeah, I'm just saying, bro. I'm just
Quotes
saying.
from Mace suggesting that he had
Some
pretty
people
much
got out.
decided that
Some
joining
people
G-Unit
didn't.
was a done deal. Interestingly, the article suggested that Diddy and Mace had already discussed their contract buyout, and that Diddy had told the news with a grin that he's certain that 50 Cent has the money to buy Mace out of his deal. However, things weren't as sorted as they seemed, with 50 claiming in a 2014 Funk Flex interview on Hot 97 that Diddy did some sucker stuff over this deal.
Nah, ever since Mace, you've always had a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, he did some sucker.
You always had a bad taste in your
He
mouth.
was a sucker on the Mace project because
Right,
he know what he did.
50 would recount a run-in at the Nobu restaurant with Diddy, claiming that Diddy told him it was all good and he was just waiting for 50 to take care of the finances to release Mace from his deal.
But then we was in Noble, me, him, and Jimmy sitting there, right? He was at the table having dinner with some other people and came over. Yo, Playboy, yo, I thought, you know how we going Tiffany Co. right now. We pick up something, they ain't gonna say nothing. They gonna send us an invoice later. They gonna let us walk out. That's what I thought you was doing with Mace. I thought you was taking him on tour. When you come back, you gonna take care of me. I said, oh, ain't nothing. So I just waiting for you to take care of me.
Interestingly, he also said that Diddy muddied the waters between 50 Cent and Jimmy Iovine, who 50 was in Nobu to have a meeting with about negotiating the deal for G-Unit artist The Game's next album, with Diddy apparently making a too good to be true offer for Mace, saying that he would give him the money to sign him and complete the album, and that 50 and Jimmy could keep the profits once Diddy had recouped from Mace's deal. Not only a too good to be true offer, but it also put 50 in a tough spot with Jimmy, who was there to work out the G-Unit deal on The Game's next album.
When Jimmy gets all antsy, because right now he don't know we having a meeting to talk about him actually going, it's time to sell the Game album again, so he's trying to figure out how to have this conversation with me. I've never heard a person say this to me ever again in my career. He says, okay, look, you guys, make the deal. Like, look, I'll give up my profit.
But you felt good about that.
Yeah, make the project, and after we recoup the money that we spent, take the profits. Man, Mace might not even get a chance to write all of the record. I'm trying to write the record for him. Super good deal. Never ever again.
And you kind of feel Diddy made the deal hard.
Yeah, like after he just said something that I'm never gonna hear from my career ever again.
In this interview, 50 would then reveal that later, Diddy eventually told him that he was really expecting a whopping $2 million to release Mace from his contract, with 50 famously saying that Mace wasn't worth $2 million with $2 million in his pocket and that he'd have paid $1 million max.
Was there a number talked about?
Yeah, I was like, what you looking for that?
What you want?
He said $2 million. I'm like, Mace ain't worth $2 million with $2 million in his pocket. You crazy? He was $1 million over what that was supposed to. He could have got $1 million.
50 even said he felt like Diddy was trying to take advantage of him because he knew he was new to the game and that he had $2 million after the success of Get Rich or Die
$2
Trying.
million is kind of crazy.
He was trying to do that. You knew, like, let me get that. The $2 million.
You knew and you got it. Give it to me.
Yeah, give it to you. I'm like, man, you gotta be crazy, man.
This $2 million offer was far beyond what Mace was worth and pretty much a go F yourself offer. Diddy was pretending to be serious about letting 50 sign Mace, basically to waste his time and money. As Mace explained later, Diddy essentially blocked the deal from going through.
G-Unit was somewhat a deal that you guys tried to make happen. What went wrong with that deal?
You want the honest answer?
That's
what we're on here for.
Yeah.
You know why it didn't go through. Diddy didn't let it go through. That's the reason it didn't go through. He wanted 50 to give him all of the money he thought I owed him. And I thought he owed me money, so that was always the underlining battle, the invisible battle. So then when I said I wanted to go with G-Unit, he was trying to get all of the money back from 50 Cent. 50 Cent is a street guy. He's not going to pay that, you know? So then you run into issues. So when Puff, he just kept saying he wanted $2 million, then he wanted $3 million, and he was just trying to make it where we wouldn't have a budget if you give him all the money. You know how Puff is. You're going to cut your arm off.
I mean, they could have went like, come on, bro. They could have went to the middle, 1.5, boom, right in the middle.
Free.
Okay.
So if you get free, you're going to have an invisible leg.
This was a furious head-to-head and a deep situation when you think about it. 50 came up as a rapper and reached the top of the game before trying his hand at business and the executive positions. Meanwhile, Diddy had somehow managed to climb the greasy pole as an executive with handy deals made behind the scenes that propelled him to the top of the boardroom as a label executive, with Diddy using his industry clout and the help of actually talented writers like 50 to eventually make himself a famous rapper too. Now 50, a successful artist, was trying to poach one of the most famous artists who had helped Diddy make a name for himself. This would represent a serious challenge for dominance in the backrooms of the rap industry and set the stage for an intense beef that would unfold for years to come. 50 Cent would escalate the beef to new heights when he dropped his P.Diddy diss track, The Bomb, aka Hip Hop, ahead of that mixtape's release. Articles began to circulate at the end of August 2006 saying 50 Cent just dropped the bomb on Diddy. The song itself was a remix of Dead Prez's classic track Hip Hop with one of the most iconic beats in the history of rap. On the track, 50 rapped that Diddy knew who killed Biggie and that he was scared of the boys who did it from the West Side. The song had
Told you. He probably does on who killed Biggie. Now, a lot of stuff might come out now just because, you know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff might come out now, but I think he does know who killed Biggie, though. Like, come on now. You're telling me you don't know who, you know what I'm saying, like, killed Biggie? Come on, he knows.
Had a boastful hook where he claimed that him and his G-Unit crew run hip-hop in its entirety, not Diddy. 50 would also rant at Diddy on the outro with a long tirade that dissed Diddy into another dimension. He mocked Diddy's parties, saying that he won't be getting invited to the White Party in the Hamptons after this diss, but 50 doesn't want to come to the White Parties anyway, and he doesn't want to hang out with Diddy's punk. He'd then move on to rant about Diddy blocking him signing Mace, saying that he doesn't even want Mace anymore, going on to say that Diddy and Mace wasted his time on purpose, and that Diddy should reimburse him $50,000 in travel fees for flying around the world trying to help Mace. He'd even claimed that somebody told him something about Diddy that he could easily expose. Now, this song caused a huge splash when it was released, but funnily enough, in recent months, since the FBI's raids on Diddy's properties, it's actually had a resurgence, with YouTube commenters joking that the feds must have been spinning this song during the raid. It seemed that following this, rather than outright beef, 50 Cent opted to kill his enemies with success, and going into 2007, in August, when the Forbes Hip Hop Cash Kings list was announced, 50 Cent had actually overtaken Diddy, ranking number 2 behind Jay-Z, with Diddy in 3rd place as the top 3 earning rappers. However, it may well have been the case that 50 was actually the number 1 spot secretly, as the deal for Coca-Cola to buy vitamin water, which 50 Cent invested in early, was only announced a little more than a week before this list went public. And since 50 was set to make a rumored 9-figure sum from the deal, he may well have been number 1 by a landslide.
Oh, what? An estimate 100 mil from his vitamin water deal? Yo, oh, this is like, oh yeah, I think that's the commercial.
But
for
the numbers weren't
water.
actually known yet. Now go check my vintage video on that topic if you want to know the whole story. But clearly, there was a lot of competition between the top earners in hip-hop, and interestingly, all of them were New Yorkers. Funnily enough, despite their bitter rivalries, less than a week later, all 3 of these rich rappers would end up having a dramatic run-in with each other. On August 22nd, 2007, T.I. and Ciara's Screamfest tour would go to Madison Square Garden in New York, and at the show, there would be a surprise performance by T.I., Jay-Z, Kanye West, 50 Cent, and Diddy. This was a wild moment and included some strange things, because when Jay-Z realized 50 Cent had walked onto the stage, it seemed like a frosty introduction, and there was a little tension between them.
We got, hey,
you get down. You
can get down. It's all
This
good.
a
Come
real
on in.
special moment, ain't
That's
it?
Come on, you can get
crazy.
some.
This a real special moment. Uncle Diddy in the mother house. 50 had to.
Come on, T has to know. Them niggas have some beef. Come on, bro. Like, that's crazy. Niggas have beef and they gotta perform, bro.
Come back out and make my show hot. I so appreciate it. Hey, 50, I'm glad you up here because you can share my enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Some have suggested that this was completely unplanned and that 50 Cent actually invaded the stage and strong-armed the others into letting him stay, asserting his dominance as the king of New York rap, with it being suggested that Jay's introduction showed him he was rattled and didn't have a choice but to let 50 stay on the stage.
We got, hey.
You can get down. You can get down. It's all good.
This a
Come
real
on in.
special moment, ain't it?
Come on, you can get some.
This a real special moment.
During Kanye's performance of Can't Tell Me Nothing, Diddy and 50 would be seen running around the stage separately, and all five would stand side by side on the stage in a legendary moment that sent the fans wild. But quite a few weird things played out in the dynamics between these frenemies of rap royalty during this performance. 50 would begin hilariously counting a large wad of money on stage, and 50 and Diddy would then seem to walk towards each other for a moment before the camera cut back to T.I. At one point, Diddy seems to be creeping up behind 50 with 50's head on a swivel and watching out for Diddy approaching him, and perhaps for good reason, because this is where Diddy famously spanked Jay-Z's bottom in front of the whole crowd in a bizarre play of power. Now, I'll be honest, having watched this closely, it seems that 50 continually keeps his distance from Diddy, with Diddy seemingly keeping eyes on 50 and often trying to get closer to him. At one point, 50 is actually distracted by the crowd, and Diddy does a complete 360 turn and keeps eyes on 50's rear. But then, right at the end, Diddy actually runs in with his arm around Ye and throws his arm around 50 Cent, with 50 visibly pulling back from Diddy's embrace and quickly shaking him loose. Right at the end, the two would face off for a tense moment where, to me, 50 looks like he's mean mugging Diddy slightly. It was an insane moment and wild timing, all happening just a week after all of these artists fought it out to decide who would be the hip-hop's top moneymaker in Forbes magazine. But perhaps this event, or the fact that they were all getting money, brought them together, as not long after that event, the remix to 50 Cent's smash hit I Get Money drops, which is called the Forbes $123 billion remix, featuring both P. Diddy and Jay-Z dropping verses on 50's hit song. Interestingly, at the time, Jay-Z claimed that 50 actually wanted to get him and Diddy on his remix, which showed the world there was no longer hate between them. The remix itself didn't feature any shade by 50 and was mainly just braggadocious bars. However, in Diddy's verse, he dropped many questionable lyrics that today would have anyone giving the side eye. Ironically, he started his verse ending the first three lines with the phrase "Diddy did it," and the fourth by saying his lawyer is so good that Diddy got acquitted. For now, it seemed that Diddy and 50 had actually become friends, or at least neutral for the time being. However, in a 2008 MTV interview backstage, Diddy and 50 had a play fight after 50 crashed a Diddy interview to promote his new reality show.
Broaden everybody's horizons. Yeah, definitely. I was looking for you. I tell you, get your hand out of my pocket, man. Get your hand out of my pocket. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing on the channel. Get your hand out of my pocket, man. Look at me when I'm talking to you. I see, yo. I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, man. I see what you're doing. Nah, look at me, man. I see what you're doing, man. Yeah, you gonna make me. Okay, I'm telling y'all right now. When I want to work for Diddy, I'm gonna physically put my hands on somebody for the ratings because he's not going to outdo me. I'm going to physically. I'm going to go to Central Book. Yeah. I'm used to it. I know what it is. But get your hand out my pocket. Get off my channel, boy. I love this show, though.
You got the brand new show. Have you seen it?
I love this show.
Donald Trump's seen it as well.
Yeah. Donald Trump said my show.
What show is that? What show is he talking about?
It's a knockoff of The Apprentice. I said, what's the matter with Donald?
Hey, yo, I mean,
he got a little age on him. You can see
to me, be honest, it felt a little. I want to work for Diddy inspired to me, though.
Yeah, but you know what? This is what I got to do it, right? And these are my friends. But the guys that really don't like me, that's who you need to talk to.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
I love this show, though. For real. I think it's important, like, when you see your friend getting into a new era and a new game, it's important if they do the right thing and they do it the right way. My man did his show the right way. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I love this show.
It seemed that while friendly, the two were still on thin ice.
What show is that? Do y'all know what show? I don't know.
Soon the tension would be rising. Diddy and 50 appeared together again when 50 Cent became embroiled in a deep beef with Rick Ross. Now go check my vintage video on that if you don't know the story. But during the beef, 50 made several incredibly disrespectful vlogs and videos trolling Rick Ross, including one where he invited Rick Ross's son and his mother to Floyd Mayweather's mansion in Las Vegas, with an arguably uncomfortable looking Diddy appearing in the background for parts of the video. At one point, Diddy and 50 seem to be having a friendly conversation, and they go on to eat candy and chat with Floyd and film director Gary Gray for a while. while. This was surprising, as it seemed that Rick Ross and Diddy actually had a good relationship, but it's entirely possible that Diddy's presence there was completely unplanned. In fact, in the coming months and years, it would emerge that clearly Diddy was much closer to Rick Ross than 50 Cent on a personal level, as Rick Ross would later appear on the 2010 remix to Diddy's Dirty Money Crew's track Angels. And a few months later, in April 2010, it would be announced that Diddy had become Rick Ross's official manager, with Rick Ross later claiming in an interview that their relationship is much deeper than just rap, and later announcing that they were recording a joint project together under the name Bugatti Boys, and releasing the track Another One. Unfortunately, as Rick Ross's beef with 50 Cent ended up getting extremely raw and personal, no doubt 50 begun seeing Diddy and Ricky in the same batch as certified ops. But in the years that followed, there was less personal back and forth between Diddy and 50. Perhaps 50 knew how terminal Diddy's decline would eventually be. He seemed to keep a safe distance from hip-hop supervillain, but eventually, just like the situation with Mace, the beef between Diddy and 50 would be reignited once again, with the war playing out this time in the business boardrooms rather than in disses in songs.
So they used to be homies, beef again, homies, beef again. Now this part was like the last straw for 50 where all right, boom. I mean,
While Diddy made his name in the record business, heading up Bad Boy Records with the booming success of the notorious B.I.G., and after Biggie's untimely and suspect death, eventually making a name for himself as a rapper, but Diddy's career as a moneymaker went far beyond just the rap music industry. He famously founded clothing brand Sean John, which generated hundreds of millions of dollars, and a company that he eventually sold pieces of for top dollar. But Diddy's next famous power play in the business world was becoming the spokesperson for Ciroc, an alcoholic beverage made of grapes, marketed as vodka, but not necessarily actually vodka. Something that Diddy seemed to suggest was an asset rather than a finesse, claiming that only peasants drink actual vodka made from potatoes.
Blue Dot Ciroc. It's made with grapes, not potatoes. It's the smoothest thing out there. It's better than that gray PP. Put that geese down, ho, we Ciroc boys. Would you rather drink potatoes or grapes? I'm a king. Kings drink grapes. Queens drink grapes. We don't drink potatoes, okay? Peasants drink potatoes, okay?
The grape-derived party drink eventually came in a variety of fruity flavors that matched Diddy's various personalities perfectly. Interestingly, the brand was launched back in 2000.
Is that still a thing? Is that still a thing or no?
Free, and one of the first celebrities used to market the product was NFL player Earl Little. Know very little about him. It doesn't seem like he really got the brand popping. The brand Ciroc would truly catapult itself into the hip-hop world in 2007 when they started working with Jay-Z and eventually Diddy, who began pushing the brand hard after signing an alleged $100 million deal with the brand, announcing the partnership in a glossy press conference where Diddy claimed that this partnership with Ciroc would revolutionize the spirits industry forever.
Ciroc Vodka is entering into a groundbreaking strategic alliance with Sean Combs. Sean Combs and Ciroc Vodka.
This is history because this is not an endorsement deal. This is not a co-branding deal. I'm going to be taking the lead on the marketing, advertising, the brand building, where it's sold, how it's sold, and I'm very excited about building a luxury brand. My alliance with Diageo is something that will revolutionize the spirits industry forever.
And it certainly revolutionized Diddy's pockets forever, with it emerging that Diddy was in charge of all marketing for the Ciroc brand in a big money deal that would see Diddy sharing 50% of the profits. Over the following 6 years or so, Diddy would shamelessly plug this drink at every opportunity, in glossy TV ads depicting Diddy partying and high class with Ciroc as his drink of choice, to 3-minute commercial movies where Diddy would hold the Ciroc smooth off and refer to himself as Ciroc Obama. He would hold star-studded Ciroc parties attended by the biggest rappers of the era, and he would famously ring in the new year after year with his Ciroc the New Year campaign and yearly parties.
We are here live behind the scenes putting the party together. Y'all have heard about the world famous party. Many have asked, but few are chosen. It is an exclusive event happening at the Combs estate tonight.
And soon Ciroc would be an inescapable.
Like I said, do not party with Diddy, y'all. Gotta say no. That's what they're saying. You gotta say no. No.
Part of every single Diddy party, some of which were inescapable. But at the time, the Ciroc branding's association with the Diddy parties was brilliant. By 2013, Ciroc was making and spending so much money on their ads, they were looking like full-blown Hollywood movies with star-studded casts of A-list actors. This one ad alone included appearances from Matt Goss, Diddy, Frank Vincent, Jesse Williams, Chad Michael Murray, Michael K. Williams, Christopher Jones, and Aaron Paul. And in a 2013 interview, Diddy spoke on his business ambitions in a sit-down which declared his business empire worth a whopping $3 $345 million, with Diddy claiming that he wanted to produce the music you hear, the clothes you wear, the alcohol you drink, with Martin Bashir seemingly spotting Diddy's insane megalomania all the way back then.
His bad boy business empire, with Diddy at the center, is now worth an estimated $345 million. He calls himself the Black James Bond, neither shaken nor stirred, but always selling.
Is there anything you would not promote? How about Diddy dog food?
No, I wouldn't do Diddy dog food. I was gonna make the clothes that you would get dressed in, the fragrance you would put on, listen to the music that I produced, to buy the vodka that was in the club.
Some people might think that's a form of megalomania. That you would think that. A form of megalomania.
It could be. By 2014, Diddy had truly taken his Ciroc brand to the top of the game. But naturally, if one person is making a bag in business, it doesn't take long for new competitors to try and get into the market. And perhaps unsurprisingly, once again, Diddy's latest corporate op would be none other than 50 Cent himself. Now, in the years following the Rick Ross beef, while Diddy was building the Ciroc brand, the beef between Diddy and 50 got relatively quiet. That's not to say that there weren't the usual characteristic jabs from 50, with shots being sent Diddy's way here and there. The summer of 2010 would actually see 50 Cent going on a Diddy hate press run of sorts. He would do back-to-back interviews where he dropped maximum shade on Diddy. On June the 10th, 50 would be on a Boston radio show called Jammin' 94.5, where he called in to say Diddy's music sucks and that he's a bloodsucker, as well as saying Diddy shouldn't say that Rick Ross reminds him of Biggie Smalls.
I was online, man, and I was reading you're not a big...
How will Rick Ross remind you of Biggie? What?
Big Puffy fan these days.
Why? Because them two niggas big as shit or what? Like, pause, like, what?
Well, you know what? His music sucks.
Don't be blunt, 50. Tell us what's on your mind.
No, it's bad. It's bad.
What is it you don't like about Puffy's music right now?
He's not an artist anyway, so
that's true.
It doesn't really matter. Like if you think about it, is he a rapper?
No.
Because he said he don't write rhymes, he writes text.
That's right. So you're not buying Puffy CD when it comes out at all, huh?
Nobody's buying it. He even said himself he don't expect it to sell. Like he's okay, just he's just using it as a promotional tool. Like, and standing next to these fools is his promotional tool too. Like, how does Rick Ross remind you of Biggie? Any Biggie fan objects to that.
Yeah.
He's close to him. So how can he say that? Like, he says that, what, because he's fat and his eyes are? That's what you think makes you remind you of Biggie? Like, it's almost like he's trying to recreate what he had. It's like he's senile.
Yeah.
Now you get older, things start feeling crazy. You think he's recreating that moment. But tell the truth, man. You know Puffy just sucks, man. Look, he's the serpent. He's gonna suck the blood out of him.
He's one hell of a businessman.
Yeah, but what he does is suck the blood out of the artist. What artist exists after the interaction with him?
A week later, in a diss towards 50, Diddy announced that he was renaming his supergroup to the Supreme Team, the same name as the gang who shot 50. Then, on June the 24th, 2010, during another interview, 50 spoke on Diddy and said despite having music out, he wouldn't class Diddy as an actual artist because he doesn't write any of his music, suggesting that he's more in the business of making music rather than actual art.
You know what's interesting? He's not an artist.
He has album.
Yeah, but he's not an artist. See, an artist would be someone who actually wrote something maybe on the record. Imagine if I just sat around and listened to people's CDs and said, I'm just going to say the first verse that I hear that sounds good. That would completely take away the pressure, and I'd still be the artist in front of you with a new song every 2 minutes, because every artist that has a song that would like to make some money off it would send it. What I thought was a part of the culture, what made hip-hop culture exciting to me, was each person's individual experience. How you learn to enjoy them as an individual and their portion of their life, the carving out that piece. When that's not there because they're just being executive, like you say, you don't write rhymes, you write checks, that's not hot. Like for hip-hop, it's not.
Now, Diddy would actually clap back at 50 in a speech made at the BET Awards after party in June 2010, where he told people to stop hating, saying that hate is for suckers, without actually naming 50 directly, but calling him a crab. Naturally, 50 would continue smack-talking Diddy in response to these jabs. In July
Calling him a crab is crazy.
2010, 50 would question Diddy's intentions in the art of hip-hop again after Diddy appeared on the song The Ghost of Christopher Wallace with Jay Electronica, another tribute to Diddy's fallen friend and artist Biggie Smalls, and it had 50 feeling some type of way. He would let the public know that he didn't appreciate Diddy for using Biggie's name for clout and money, tweeting, "Enough is enough. Biggie's name should have never become Diddy's black card. Let Diddy know to let B.I.G. rest in peace. When was the last time Diddy really was bigging up his brother, not bigging up his bank?" 50 would actually start a Twitter petition trying to ban Diddy from using Biggie's Puffy's name going forward. And around the same time as this, in August or July, another interview would drop where 50 Cent hopped on the radio with DJ Who Kid on Shade 45. And here, 50 would be asked about the comments that Diddy made at the BET Awards after party, with 50 responding calling Puffy a bitch and suggesting that he simply wants attention from men.
Though the after party, do you think that Diddy was coming at you though?
Really interesting because, you know, Puffy's like a to describe Puffy in one word is a see, you know how ugly always got like pretty friends?
Yeah, I know
That's
what you
how he built his group. He want to be the hot in the group. He want to make sure he getting all the attention.
Yep, they get the dudes hollering at them. Everything is that the pretty bitch with the ugly girls.
He want to make sure the niggas want to holler at him. If he'll tell you himself what happened in Miami, stay in Miami.
They would even for a moment bring up the fact that Diddy was forming a group called the Supreme Team, with 50 saying Puffy should know better.
He did change the name though. He did change. Well, he changed the
to Dream Team.
Supreme Team. Better than to do that shit.
So where did it go wrong though? Because I know y'all was cool. Like where did it like, turn
I
wrong?
don't know what made him name that group that. That's what made me
Supreme
think.
Team. Oh, okay, the Supreme Team. And then it was like, yo, why you why?
50 would then go on to say that he spoke to Diddy on the phone after the Mace situation, saying that Diddy had a new girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, with 50 saying he'd been sent compromising pictures of her that had been submitted to his website, thisis50.com. Now, what he was sent were tapes that would allegedly later be described as one of Diddy's freak-off videos.
Then like he'd call, we should kick it on the telephone and after the Mace. Matter of fact, they sent me the girl pictures, like pictures of this girl, like not the shit that y'all saw. Worse, way worse.
Wow. Oh, you kidding me up?
Like penetration pictures and
Nah, come on, man. Come on, Phil.
And when 50 says in the interview, not the stuff that you saw, it's way worse, he was referring to leaked topless pictures of Cassie that had circulated in mid-2009, with them eventually being taken down for a pretty interesting reason, with one Hollywood gossip blog explaining that the topless pictures of Cassie were taken down due to a claim from Bad Boy Records, on the basis that they had bought the photos and had exclusive rights over them. Interestingly, this 50 Cent interview was the following year, months after the rumors had circulated on Twitter that Cassie's even more compromising clips had been leaked, and the following year in 2011, Media Takeout would report that they had been contacted by somebody claiming to have an explicit tape that starred both Diddy and Cassie together, with an explicit photo of themselves together also getting shared online around this time. But anyway, 50 would go on explaining that after he was sent the alleged freak-off video through his website, he actually called Diddy to ask him if Cassie was really his girlfriend.
That's weird, bro. That's some weird shit right there. That's
yo,
weird.
you with this girl, like you really you like her like that? And he was like, yeah, that's my girl. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna send you something. You look at it, you call me back.
50 said that it was after this confirmation from Diddy that Cassie was indeed his real girlfriend that he sent Diddy the clips, but he was surprised when Diddy called him back and said thank you for the video.
I sent him the photos, the pictures and everything, and the nigga called back and was like, yo, thanks, man, yo, I really appreciate that.
Diddy would go on to quiz 50, asking him where did you get these from, with 50 reminding everybody that usually when he gets sent something, it's getting posted online.
I sent him the photos, the pictures and everything, and the nigga called back and was like, yo, thanks, man, yo, I really appreciate that. Yo, where you get these from? And I said, you know, like, because they know, like, if something crazy is going on, if they send it to me, I'll make sure it get out there. Like, as far as this video.com is concerned.
All right, y'all. And that's going to be it for part one. Part two is going to be the last one, which is tomorrow. So, yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow, man. We out.